Hi there, this is Matt Heffernan. Welcome back to my channel. This is yet another Slithy Vlogs episode, which is a unscripted, less edited, sort of seat of my pants, stream of consciousness videos that I do in between my more edited and produced videos like my tutorials. And in this episode, this is in honor of me reaching 6,000 subscribers very recently in the last couple days. And if you are a longer-term subscriber to my channel, you might remember that at the beginning of this year, of 2021, I was sitting at just under 500 subscribers, and I did my 500 subscriber video back then. And then, the channel kept growing at a nice steady rate. I had that 1,000 subscriber video. And then at the end of April, my first Z80 video came out. And that went sort of a small scale viral. And as you can see in this line chart here, right at the end of April, my channel had a giant leap in popularity. And I went from like 1,800 or so subscribers, maybe 1,700 subscribers, to very quickly getting up to 5,000 subscribers within like a week. It was a little bizarre, and it basically took me so by surprise that I didn't even get a chance to plan out the 5,000 subscriber video. And I was just kind of scrambling to catch up and figure out what the heck was going on with my channel. But now things have, as you can see here, they've also evened out, but the growth is still at a higher rate than it was before that video came out. So things are looking good for the channel, and I've just hit the 6,000. So there's been some changes, though, that have happened in the past couple weeks, and I want to address some of that in this video and just give you a bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing on this channel in the near future. So first, and you might have noticed this when you clicked on the video, that the name of the channel has changed, at least slightly. It's still my name at the beginning, Matt Heffernan, but now I have the name of my company after it, Slithy Games. So this is also supposed to be a channel that is dedicated to that enterprise that is Slithy Games, because all the demos, that's how this channel really got kickstarted. As you can see down there, I did join YouTube back in 2006. I am an early adopter of it, but I did not become a serious creator until, really until 2020. And didn't start posting any videos that got any sort of traction until the end of 2019. And that was because I started making these games. And so Slithy Games is really the purpose of this channel, is to promote the games that I'm creating, and to help finance the manufacture and distribution of physical copies, because that's what I really want to do. These are old school games. I want to have old school packaging. And so that's what this channel is helping to fund. And one of the ways you can do that, of course, is through Patreon, like you see at the end of each of my videos. But a new thing is, if you'll see here on the screen cap, there's now a join button. And what that will let you do is, if you don't want to do the Patreon thing, you can join the channel. You can become a member of my YouTube channel. And basically, you can be my YouTube friend, or you can be my Patreon friend. They are both $5 a month. And of course, on Patreon, I have as little as $1, and then even higher tiers for different things. But on YouTube, it's very basic. It's just one tier, just that friend tier, and you get the same sort of benefits that you get as a Patreon friend, where you get your name in the videos, you get the name at the end of games, and you just get to see, of course, all of my videos before they get released to the public. Basically, as soon as they're done, you get to see them. What you get on Patreon, though, is a little different. There's additional content on Patreon. I post exclusive videos. I'll be posting those exclusive videos also to YouTube members, but There's other things that are just strictly on Patreon, like Lens, if you're familiar with that. It's sort of like an Instagram story type thing. I don't do a lot of them, but there's a few things. There's like a little bit of content that is probably not going to make it over onto the YouTube friend for YouTube friends. But YouTube friends will get things that Patreon supporters won't get unless they also become YouTube friends. And that's just some cute little things here. You'll get these badges. You can see the initial badge. You'll be my little Alice 2600 avatar. You're around for, I think it's 3 months. You get to be the little Chase Vault avatar. I don't have a name for him. Here's a nice thing. If you want to come up with a name for the guy that you play in Chase Vault, please put it down in the comments, because I have no idea what to call him. I mean, obviously he has a pith helmet, kind of like Pitfall Harry. I don't want to be too, too derivative of that, because also, since it is already a very derivative game specifically of Pac-Man, but with different elements like Lock and Chase and Zelda are also inspirations for it. But yeah, I don't have a name for the guy. So yeah, if you have an idea what to call him, then that I'll go ahead and call him that. I'm gonna have to come up with materials. Because basically, as soon as the Commander X16 hardware comes out, I'll be producing physical copies of Chase Vault and shipping out little SD cards with labels and boxes and the whole 9 yards, if you want to have that sort of thing. And then, of course, if you're an even longer term member, you eventually get to have the Penelope badge. The cute little guinea pig will be sort of your little indicator that you're a long term supporter of mine. And that would be generally, of course, in the comments of my videos and posts and all that. But I also plan on doing some live streaming eventually on YouTube, and this you'll be able to have these badges visible also within the live streams, and you'll also be able to use within these comments special emojis. I have 2 of them defined so far: the banana and like the eye rolling skull, both from Chase Vault. I'll come up with some more emojis, just some fun things that if you're supporting me on YouTube, you get to have those too. But again, none of this content is requires you to pay for anything. You can just enjoy it as a regular YouTube watcher. But if you want to help me out a little bit and to be able to make some of my games reach a wider audience, and to have basically nicer stuff, to be able to provide some nice artifacts of these games, and really try to bring back the old school big box format computer games, which is what I'm going for. So moving on. Now, of course, you have probably seen, if you've been on my channel recently, the current series that I'm working on, the new one for the ZX Spectrum, the Z80 assembly tutorial series. I've got 2 episodes that are already out, and you'll notice it's a bit of deja vu if you've been around a while, that it seems to fairly well match up with my original assembly tutorial series for the Commander X16 using 6502 assembly. And even you'll notice, especially in the first video, reusing graphics and even parts of the script, because the whole basic concept of what is assembly language and how to use it, a lot of that still applies. There's not a lot of difference there, but once we got into the second video, you could see all those addressing modes are very, very different on the Z80 compared to the 6502, and of course the 65C02 specifically in the Commander X16. It's a very different ball game, and so the series is definitely starting to diverge. But you can see I have a framework, because I know what people have successfully enjoyed, and people are actually writing assembly language programs for the Commander X16 after going through my videos. And so hopefully the same thing will happen for the ZX Spectrum, and also the ZX Spectrum Next, which is the second Kickstarter, the folks that went ahead and pledged for that second Kickstarter are going to start getting their machines. So there's going to be a lot more new Spectrums out there in the world, and hopefully people use these videos to actually create them. I don't think I will be one to get one of these because I did not get on that Kickstarter, but these videos are doing well enough that I'll be able to go ahead and buy a Spectrum Next when when they become available again for a normal price. I'm hoping that maybe that first generation computers, the Next from Kickstarter 1, if when people get their Kickstarter 2 models, maybe those Kickstarter 1s will start coming down in price a bit on the secondary market. So we'll see. But definitely at some point I will be getting a Next. Whatever happens, I'm going to do it. As I will also be getting a Commander X16. I'll have both of these systems in real hardware form eventually. And so just stay tuned for that. But also stay tuned for the rest of the Z80 tutorial series. And if my previous series is any guide, which you can see here, the episodes 3 through 8 of the that previous series for the Commander X16, you could see the progress that I went to get through basically the entire instruction set, and then starting to move into some of the special capabilities. So in lesson 3 on for Commander X16, I started going into branching and subroutines. I think I'm going to have another one even before I get into that sort of stuff on the Z80. I think the lesson 3 for that is going to be entirely about the load instruction. I know I've gone through all the addressing modes, but I think it bears a little more of a deep dive into really understanding how each of the different registers are used, and what the different possibilities are, and really enumerating all of that, just to provide a bit more familiarity with the way that the instruction set works, because it's definitely a lot more complicated. And so we'll have some more foundational work on that. But then eventually getting into all of these topics, and probably in this same order, where we'll get into arithmetic and logic, and then the stack, and then some of the bitwise stuff. There's a lot of bitwise stuff also on the Z80, so that'll be a good episode. And then I had this sort of cleanup episode called The Rest, where I did all these sort of difficult to categorize instructions, and boy oh boy does the Z80 have a lot of those. So that might be a couple episodes. I may not be able to fit that like within. I try to keep these episodes like not much more than a half hour, definitely less than 45 minutes, and that may be difficult to do. So I'm probably going to have to, before I get to the corollary of Meet the Kernel, basically once I start going over some of the ROM routines, that would be the corresponding thing, especially all of the reset vectors up at the very beginning of ROM. That one is probably going to be more like the 10th episode rather than the 8th episode, maybe even later. So we're definitely going to have a lot of content coming up, and I'm pretty much going to be doing these Z80 tutorials pretty much one every 2 weeks coming out. That will be the main episodes coming out on my channel. But I still have a couple more of these X16 tutorials to get through. But I'm waiting on the platform to actually become more mature. There's at least one more release of the ROM that is imminent for that, and my later episodes are actually going to depend on some of these late breaking changes. So definitely I'll be working those in as it becomes really feasible to do that, because the last thing I want is to put out episodes for the X16 that are obsolete on delivery. And in fact, I know that definitely like the first 3 episodes, before I had any sort of a decent microphone for these episodes, I might end up actually re-recording those by the time the hardware comes out. So there's definitely going to be more X16 content sort of weaved in there. But generally, every 2 weeks, we'll be getting more of these Z80 videos. So anyway, if you do like the Z80 videos, but maybe if it's starting sort of at a too high of a level for you, where I'm definitely expecting you to have more of a programming background before getting into assembly language programming, and have better understanding, or having a decent amount of understanding of things like hexadecimal numbers and just generally how data and memory work. I'm not getting too far down into the very basics of that. But the folks that made the Usborne books back in the UK really did do that. And my friend Alan Turvey here, he's Happy Coding ZX on Facebook, or just Happy Coding is the name of the channel. And he's gotten permission from Usborne to go through this book here, this Machine Code for Beginners book, and create some videos based on them. And they're very good, and it's really about getting to the basics of it. So if you're maybe a little lost looking at my videos, maybe go back, take a look at his, and maybe gets a bit more of a firmer foundation, and makes you more ready to really start diving into assembly language. And that's all I got for you today. So let's do what we love to do, is take a look at all the fine people that support my channel. And if you want to become one of them, well, all you got to do is follow this link here, patreon.com/slithymatt. That's me. I'm slithymatt everywhere on all the social media. And then just for as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to these videos and see all the content that I have just for patrons. And you can really help my channel grow and just make the content better. And that's all I really want to do. I want to create great content for you to enjoy, create great games for you to play, and all of that. So I thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.